Yo, I ain't here for the money, I ain't here for the fame. Though it might be nice to own a jet plane, I'ma do it off.
Welcome back, everybody.
Hello.
It is Faceless Lainie and my amazing, still in work mode co-host,
Tevin. Hello, everyone.
Welcome back to another episode of Beyond Streaming. I am super excited to be back here. This is actually our first episode that we are recording instead of doing live. So this is new to us.
A little different. It's a little different.
Very different, but I'm excited for it. This is why I'm faceless. I have a lot of issues going on in the background. We got the door opening and everything. All right, we should be good now. Okay. So today's guest is going to be ZyroDegrees. He is the manager for Skirata. He is really great guy. He does so much behind the scenes, and then he even does so much on his own time for his school. It's ridiculous how much this guy does and keeps up with so much at the same time. Super excited to have him on. We have a couple questions from people that did comment on Twitter. We are going to get those questions in at the end. So let's get Zyro on in here.
Hey.
Hello.
Hey, welcome. How are you?
Pretty good, just tired.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
we're all hitting like the last couple hours of the day.
Yeah.
Pushing on through.
Oh yeah.
So, Zyro, number one question I always ask everyone. Where did it all begin? How and why? And what got you into esports?
Wow. Let's see. Where did I go back to? So I guess it all started with my dad. My dad's a huge gamer, or I don't know about huge, but decently gamer. I used to watch him play things like Saints Row, Call of Duty, SOCOM, stuff like that. When I was little, he'd do the typical thing: give your kid the controller that isn't connected, doesn't have batteries in it.
Yeah.
I used to do that when I was younger. I've probably been playing video games, I want to say, since I was like probably 5 or 6. I know I wasn't into it like he wanted me to be. I actually probably hurt my dad's feelings quite a few times on multiple different occasions, just because I wasn't into the things that he thought would be so cool. But I'm coming around now. I'm getting older, and I'm doing this and kind of doing these kind of things. But I'd say I was introduced there at Roblox and Minecraft, and I started playing Call of Duty when I was probably like 12, 11. Something like that. Actually, no, I've been playing Call of Duty a lot before then, but can't say that because
Right.
Okay, secret safe with us.
Yeah. Thank you.
Stacy.
But I think I found esports probably. Man, I was probably in 2012 or 2013. I had started watching FaZe.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And Optic on YouTube. I had been watching probably Tico a little bit, and I've been watching some Optic vlogs here. I didn't necessarily know they competed. Then I played CS:GO for a long time with my friends, and we were just on the lobby menu, and it said like ESL Cologne or something like that with stickers, and the live stream was up. I was like, holy crap, what is this? There's a bunch of people here for video games? No way. Because I've never been a huge sports person, and I've never been really that good at sports, so I've kind of just been like, I play video games. I mean, I'm not too good at video games either, but well, that's why I'm a manager. That's why I do manager administrative things.
Calling the shots. It's all good.
Manager, not the player.
Pretty much. That's kind of where it started. Just saw that, and then me and my friends started making who knows how many teams, playing, competing. Then I started owning teams and doing stuff like that. I'm sure we'll get into that later, but that's where it started.
Wow, yeah, that's amazing.
Thank you.
What has it been like even thinking? I'm sorry, Tevin.
No, it's all right. I think he might be the first person who had like parents like influence into video games so far. Because so far everyone has been like, oh, my parents didn't like it and stuff like that. And I mean, even me. Yeah. I think you're the first person who had like a positive like influence into video games.
Yeah. But don't get me wrong, my mom didn't like it. Mom didn't like it. She was like, why are you spending so much time playing video games? Go outside, hang out with your friends. But when I moved from when I moved from the place I used to live to the place I live now and where I currently go to college, all my friends play video games, and I didn't really have many friends here, so video games was a way to connect with them. And my dad saved me a ton. He's always like, well, he's doing what he's supposed to be doing in school. I've always been an A or B student. So I've never been like, oh, I'm failing classes. My dad was like, well, as long as you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, let them play.
Right.
Love it.
Yeah, you got to think our parents were raised like they weren't really raised around as much gaming as we were. Like all this PlayStations, PC games, you got Xbox, you got
everything
all
was a
of
Nintendo.
it. Yeah.
Everything was a Nintendo in my
Like
house.
they
To my
didn't.
mom.
Yeah, everything was completely basic back then. So like not now. I feel like us when we become parents, we're gonna be like giving our kids controllers.
My kids
and
competing.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
My kids competing.
100%. If
Yeah.
my kid is spending a lot of time on video games, you better be streaming.
Right?
Oh, you're
Streaming
not
or
playing
competing.
soccer. You're going
That's
to play
it.
Call of Duty, honey.
Yeah.
We're gonna go shoot some bots. Oh my god! Teach them some wall hacks.
Whoa, I don't know about hacking.
Nope.
You gotta start them out somewhere, I guess.
Nope.
Yeah. Aim labs.
Yep.
So, Zyro, how do you feel about the growth of esports nowadays? Because before it went from being kind of like bullied and joked around for being invested into video games, and now with esports on the rise, people are like starting to be like, you can win money from this, and pros are getting involved, big companies are getting involved. FaZe just actually became like an actual legitimate company now. And so, how do you feel about the rise on esports in the world?
I'm fairly happy with how it's coming. I'm not gonna lie. When I was younger, I used to get bullied for being involved in video games and esports and having a YouTube channel. My friends would, or so-called friends, would mock my YouTube intro whenever I walk in the halls, and they make fun of me and stuff. And I still, I have a couple of videos up, I think, from back then, but I've archived a bunch of them, privated a bunch of them, never to see the light of day ever again, for a good reason too. But I'm fairly happy with the growth. I think that there are a lot of things that need to be refined in terms of how they're delivered. I do worry sometimes that it'll be heavily corporatized and taken over in a negative light, kind of like the Optic Infinite situation. And something I'm kind of going through at my school right now is just trying to make sure that we are entering the space correctly and doing it for the culture, if that makes sense, rather than the money.
That's awesome. Something you enjoy.
Oh, most
yeah,
definitely.
that's really good. Puts a lot of motivation behind you too, so that's really good. Now, you have owned 2 esports orgs. What has that been like for you?
To be honest, it was like hell.
I mean, I could imagine.
It was fun, and then it got progressively worse. I've always loved doing this. I've always loved giving people a chance because I've always seen it as, well, I can't compete, so I want to at least be in a space. And I've always been a person to give people a chance, and I like helping others achieve their dreams. So I figured, hey, let me just pay the way for some people. But the problem was paying.
Right.
You deal with a lot of egos. When I first started, I had my first organization that I owned myself, or at least heavily me. It was called, I think it was Prawn Galaxy. It was a playoff of a team that I was in with my friend Eden FPS, called Prawn Clan. That we were in there when we were super young. And the team leader, his name was Galaxy, and he just kind of had to stop playing video games because he had to move on with life, and he kind of just hung out with us a lot and gave us a shot, and just really believed in us. So I started that. And it was fun. We had a decent amount of content creators. We were going pretty good, going pretty strong on the YouTube grind. But the problem came in when you had to deal with a lot of egos. People always wanted merch. People always wanted brand deals and this and that. Yeah. But it's like, hey, we got to kind of bring in some numbers and do some things before we can pay. And then when growth went too fast, it's kind of like, oh, wait a minute, I can't afford that. And then everyone's like, well, I'm going to leave because this org's offering me merch and you're offering me nothing but, a good group of people to be around.
Right.
Yeah. The second one that at least that I'm counting right now was called Motive. I co-own that with a friend of mine, Gabs. That one kind of went down because both of us kind of got busy and it was very expensive. Previously, it was a Rainbow Six Siege League. And I kind of was like, hey, I want to start an org, but I know I can't do it alone. So, let's partner up. And she was like, yeah, let's do it. But the problem came in when we had a CSGO team. We had just got an Overwatch team that never got announced. I think we were working on a Siege team, maybe. We had another team as well, and we were working on Halo. But I spent a lot of money on graphics. A lot of money on graphics and a lot of money on on just paying these teams tournament fees. We had a League of Legends team. That's what it was, League of Legends team. And essentially, let's just say any extra money I got went towards esports.
Mhm.
And let's say
Wow.
I've had part-time jobs that pay very well, and I
Yeah.
have none of that money to this day, not a cent.
Wow.
It was very, 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 very expensive. So it was a fun experience. I learned a lot, and
Mhm.
doing a lot of things. But owning, you definitely, if you're gonna do it, you need to be financially prepared, and
Right.
you can't just do it yourself. I learned it the hard way. You can't do everything yourself.
Mhm.
Right. And you learn so young too. It's not like you did this way later on in life. This was something that you did like younger and not really knowing a full amount about what goes into it fully. It takes learning, obviously. It takes doing it and learning it and going through some of the faults and understanding, yep, this is going to cost me a good chunk of my money. So that I
Most definitely.
give you like major props for doing two. Like
Thank you.
continuing to do another even after the first one. That's amazing.
Yeah, I was literally like probably like what 12 and 13, then I was like 15, 16, 17
Jeez.
My
doing this.
God.
A lot of people probably wouldn't count it as like actual experience, but I count it towards, I don't,
Yeah.
on professional things, I don't put it down. I always tell them
Right.
if they ask about it, I've done these things,
Right.
because it didn't last nearly a full year. It was only like maybe 6 months, 7 months, 8 months at the most.
Right.
But it wasn't anything that went anywhere, and there's almost nothing to show for it right now other than my
Right.
personal knowledge. And a lot of it was learning as I went. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Hex has been a huge inspiration to me. I just watched his vlogs, watched Vision, watched a bunch of Team Liquid vlogs or videos, documentaries, docuseries to kind of see how I was going, and I've stayed true to myself
Mhm.
morally and ethically. And I've always been, it's like it's for the players, for the people. I'm not gonna do anything to screw anyone over.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's good experience too for especially cuz managing Skirata, it helps give you a lot of experience, like managing our freaking crazy team. Amazing team, I shall
Amazing,
say. Crazy
Good save.
amazing.
Good save.
I'm not gonna lie, you can't give me but so much credit, because recently I've been doing a lot like school wise. I plan to go to graduate school, and I've been kind of riding the bench. I don't know how Spencer lets me stay here, and I thank you, Spencer, for letting me stay here. But pretty much like I just recently in the past like few months, I've just been kind of bouncing ideas off of him. If he needs someone to talk to, I'll be
Right.
here, and I'll help out here and there when I can. Because as you know, my job was really supposed to be managing the Twitch channel and keeping
Right.
us up there. And then a lot of things kind of hit me, and I was like, I have to take this opportunity for like school. So I've been
Yeah.
kind of like, oh,
It helps. I think it helps Spencer out a lot too to have like, especially with the experience that you've had with both the esports orgs and just being involved in esports for almost your whole life. It helps him with knowing that you have that experience, you have that previous knowledge, so you can like help him out and help guide him too if he ever has anything that he runs to a stop and he doesn't know what to do. He has you to help him out too. So that really helps. Now, as we get into you being the manager of Skirata, you have so much that you do with school. You're an RA. How do you balance all of this?
I have no idea. Literally, I don't know. Like I was talking to you guys before we started recording. Literally, I was in our esports lab and until like 6:11, 6:15.
Yeah.
Doing stuff there because Thursdays are open game night. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't get much sleep. It's probably not good.
I was gonna say it's like you're always
It's
like
for the week. It's okay.
hearing about all the things that you do, and then I'm like, wait, he's also our manager. How the heck does he do literally everything? It's crazy.
I mean, I try to prioritize. Skirata has been one of those things that it's like, I'm sorry, but I have to like let it take a back burner. I'm
Right,
studio,
yeah.
I'm studio director of studio manager of our TV station on campus as well, which is essentially the president of the club. So that
Mhm.
has kind of picked up as COVID has kind of subsided.
Mhm.
And then the esports stuff that I've gotten scholarships off of that. So I kind of have to keep
Wow.
that up.
Nice.
I always go in order of the business that's paying me.
Yeah.
And no matter how passionate I am about something, at the end of the day, I have to do what's best for me. And Spencer
Mhm.
is so gracious and understanding that, I'm doing stuff for me and I'm still around. I'm not just like disappearing. But if I told him multiple times, like, hey, if you feel you need to drop me, do that. But if you feel that I'm an asset to stay, by all means, I'm here to stay. The only way you're getting rid of me is kicking me.
Right. Yeah.
Are you doing anything at school that is involving esports with the esports lab? Like,
That
does the
is or
college
isn't?
that is like, does your school have like an esports team in anything or anything
Yeah.
that they're involved
So
in?
currently, not necessarily. I'm acting as, of course, student director, but really director. I'm acting as a little bit of coach, manager, um, GM for our League of Legends team. I'm
Mhm.
constantly in searching for places for us to compete, constantly trying to recruit students. I serve as a bit of a coach for our NBA 2K team. I take a little bit, I don't like to be cocky, but I say this humbly, of course. I
Mhm.
take a little bit of pride in the fact that I coached one of my good friends and one of our star players into his NBA 2K championship last year.
Nice.
I
Nice.
competed in Call of Duty for us last year. We lost badly because things were just shaken up. We had like no practice and we
Right.
were supposed to play, but a bunch of teams kind of pulled out. So they mixed up the bracket and said, okay, whatever. So we ended up getting like top 6.
Mhm.
Didn't place in the money. And of course, like Nameless and Study were casting in our match didn't get on stream, unfortunately.
Oh,
But that's the only thing I've competed in. But I kind of serve as like a general coach slash GM slash
Mhm.
manager slash
mhm.
everything guy. Everything going on.
Now,
Wow.
did you have to propose an idea for like an esports lab, or did the school just randomly do that?
So that's a very funny story. So at the time, this happened in November of 2019, or the end of 2019. I was kind of starting to be more outward about saying I love esports. I work in esports. I have a passion. I want to do things in the gaming industry.
Mhm.
And I have someone in my life who has some connections to the university as well as some other companies that knew that. My dad works with him and he knew that. And the university was essentially going on a trip to Atlanta, Georgia, with with my city's how do I say this before like giving up too much of where I live? Well, I saw my Twitter anyways. Basically, our IT department,
Yep.
Mhm.
they were going to Georgia to meet with Dell Technologies, for just kind of to get the city to move over to Dell instead of HP. And my
Right.
school, I think, is either the only school in our state or the only HBCU that uses exclusively Dell products. So
Hmm.
at the time, the interim chancellor, the provost, and some other administrative figures, they were going there to talk about esports. They met with Skillshot Media. They used to be under High Res Studios, the publishers of Paladins and High Res, and they run the Smite Pro League. So they were like, basically, they were like, hey, we're looking to do esports. Do you know anyone that could help us out or whatever? And my the person I know was like, hey, yeah, this person here. And my dad he just told my dad, hey, if he can get a flight to Georgia, he can come. So literally bought a flight to Georgia, went there. I was basically serving as like a facilitator per se slash consultant
Right.
to talk with these people, make sure they're asking the right questions, make sure we're kind of going the right direction to kind of help steer their stuff. Then we kind of get back to our city, and they're kind of like, hey, yeah, so would you like to kind of just help us work through this? And I'm like, perfectly fine. Um, just trying to. I knew I was gonna be going here anyways, and I was like, I can build this program and do it. Essentially, just build the program. Who gets to do that? I'm
Yeah.
19. For context, I went to an early college, so I basically had 2 years of college under my belt, and I could just transition over to this university and for free, essentially.
Mhm.
And I'm a senior now, and I'm 19. I'm like, who ever has been 18, 19 and built a program? So I was like, I have to do
Seriously.
this. Yeah. So we get back. They're asking me to consult here and there. We're doing our room. We have our lab. Bought the computers, and I've kind of just been serving as like GM since then. So I guess it kind of was them asking around, and it was like right place, right time. Someone knew of me and knew I wanted to do this, and I just kind of got
Mhm.
picked and put in the position.
That's amazing. Holy
Wow.
wow.
Thank you. It was crazy. Like I kid you not, I don't know how the heck this happened. Because speaking of my friend who's going to the graduate school I want to go to, I want to work in student
Mhm.
affairs at a university. And he was just like, that's just unheard of. He's told his coworkers and his bosses about me, and they really want to hire me. They're just like, no one does that. That's crazy.
Right.
Like
This
that's
is
it's so
like
interesting.
someone could make a movie. Wait, no one steal it. Don't steal that idea.
You will get sued.
I'm gonna make a movie out of this. This is literally
That'd be
like
cool.
something you see in movies, like a movie about a kid like going into this whole esports world and only being 18, 19 years old. Like, what the heck? You
Yeah.
never hear about that.
That's
Honestly,
awesome.
that'd be crazy.
Yeah, I feel like I've been seeing a lot more of esports teams and colleges, including esports labs on campus now. Like, like I
Most
was at
definitely.
college and I never even heard about this. Like,
I mean,
what
esports is
the
a
heck?
billion-dollar industry, and from the standpoint of a lot of universities, it's another way to get students to come to school.
Yep.
Personally, I believe education is very important, but I
Mhm.
know college is not for everyone. But it
Yeah.
also provides that one, I believe if you're going to be a professional athlete, you should have a backup plan. This provides that built-in backup plan, but it
Yep.
has another structure or a pipeline to the pros,
Mhm.
because now it kind of goes collegiate amateurs pros or amateur pros. It gives kind of like that sense of structure. But for a lot of, I will say some universities are just into it just because, oh, it's money, let's do it.
Right. Yep.
But you can tell those programs off the back, and you can just tell by what they put into the program. If your program's not putting in the money and really asking the questions, doing it for the student body, and really invested in this as a future plan for like minors, majors, or whatever, then you can tell. But it is
Right.
a booming business, and the world is evolving. If you want to be a competing university to stay alive for the next 15, 20 years, you have to have an esports program. It's going to be bigger, if
Yes.
not, I would dare say it's going to be bigger than traditional sports.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah. It's
Absolutely.
growing like crazy. And I mean, even like I was even looking at I was getting way too deep into the statistics of esports and the growth and everything. It was weird. I was even seeing that there was a spike even because of the pandemic. Like
Mhm.
Yes.
when the whole world closed down, everyone's inside. No one can really go out and do anything. No, kids nowadays don't like just going outside and hanging outside. So they're inside. What are they doing? They're playing video games. So
Mhm.
now it's sparked even in streaming. That's what increased a lot of people to even start streaming, and a lot of people are growing off of that.
Yeah, I always tell people
Esports is just growing like crazy. It's just like you can go on Twitch and it's just like you're watching a football game. You can like you're watching friggin' Call of Duty tournament.
You actually do it on TV now too.
Yeah.
They're starting to host like
Oh, really?
like CS:GO tournaments and stuff like that. They are
Oh,
like
wow.
they're showing them on TV as well now too.
Oh my god! I remember first seeing that on TV. I ran downstairs to my dad and said, "Dad, you have to watch this." And we sat there and watched. I think, oh man, it was either FaZe versus Optic, or it was like, oh man, it was, oh god, it was a huge match, but it was one of the E-League tournaments, and
Wow.
we just watched it for like a good hour or so, and I was just like, I hate to get like cringy or whatever, but I was almost moved to tears because it's like something I'm so passionate about. Seeing it become accepted worldwide is like it's so like I guess heartwarming.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like you're in disbelief. Like it's something
Yeah.
that's you never expect. Because like the way that I would explain it was like, because like when I first started streaming and stuff like that, like I also started in competitive Call of Duty and stuff like that, and my friends didn't get it. Like I would be like, there's times like when they would want to be like, oh, let's all hang out. I'm like, I have a GB tournament, I gotta go play it and stuff like that. And actually, one of my closest friends, who's always in the stream, Dalton, he was like at first would roast me about it. He's like, "Why are you going and playing video games? Why are you staying and playing video games?" And then finally, like, just something clicked one day. Like he sent me a long message. He was like, "Hey, like, you're my friend. I need to push you to your best. If this is what you love, then go do it. Like, if you're passionate about this, then go do it." And then now he's streaming and everything like that, and like his eyes got open to it and stuff. But when I saw the match was on ESPN2. Like, it wasn't the main channel on ESPN, but ESPN2, and I was like, CS:GO's on ESPN2? Like, what? And I caught
Sports
myself
channel 2.
I watched like the entire like event. Like I sat there for 3 hours just watching it, and it's insane to see how before people used to think like, oh, video games is just something to do in your spare time, to how big it's evolved, and like the like movement that it started is insane.
It just makes me think like that, like talking about this now just reminds me of a couple of years ago, I went to Pittsburgh for a pickle festival. Don't judge me. Yes, I love pickles. I went for the pickles, okay? So my sister and I went, and of course we got this really nice hotel right in downtown, and the TVs only had 3 channels. One of the channels was watching people play video games. And this was before I got into streaming, and I was so freaking confused because it was like they're narrating like as if it is like you're watching soccer or football. I'm looking at my sister like, what the heck is this? I'm watching people play video games, but they're narrating like it's an actual like tournament going on. And then once I got into streaming, I'm like, holy crap, I've been playing these games thinking, oh, I'm just playing these games for fun, but there's people that are competing. And then these things are getting broadcasted, and I'm like, my whole mind was blown once you get opened up to the whole streaming world, and then you realize there's such thing as esports.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the heck? I would have loved to get into this. This way I wouldn't have to worry about going to college for freaking journalism. I'll go to college for esports, man.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie. I'm a communications major myself. I don't like journalism, but I don't like journalism aside, but I love my journalist.
Yes. It's so crazy to think how much it's evolved into, like, just like off of these video games. It's turned into people competing, and oh my gosh, I love it.
The way I always explain it, it's like I've had parents come to me and say, well, like, well, I don't understand what's going on. I'm just like my kid plays video games all the time, and everyone says they can make money off it. How do you start doing that? My first thing is stream, start making a YouTube channel, start uploading clips, tell them to learn how to edit videos. At the very least, just stream, be consistent. Yeah. It's gonna be like a regular job. You gotta be consistent. You have to show up, and you have to stream for probably a certain amount of time. Yep. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be overnight, and you're definitely not going to see money overnight. Right. But it's something. And then after that, if they want to compete, that's a way of getting your name out there. It's like building a brand. You have to build your brand. I always have to mirror it to like professional sports. Like, hey, if you want to play for the NFL, what are you going to do in high school and college? You're going to create a reel. You're going to have, do a lot of press things. You're going to try to get your name out there, do social media. Just put yourself out there. It's just it's cool seeing all these parents and even grandparents come to me and like say, oh, you do that e-gaming? That makes me cringe every time. But
killed him inside saying that real quick.
It really, really did. You don't know how much it killed me. But it's so cool just seeing like my grandmother, like for a long time, she really did not like video games. She thought video games were pointless, and she still kind of thinks they are. But because I've gotten money from it, she's like, oh my God. It took my mom, I think I sat her on the phone. I was working with, if anyone's familiar with esports and like really follows it, you're probably familiar with Low-Key Esports. For a time, I was the North American general manager there. They've since been bankrupt and corrupt things. But I had to sit her down with, at the time, who was my boss. I forgot his role, but talk about me going to like a LAN. They were going to pay for me to go to Los Angeles for our PUBG team and this and that. Wow. And then seeing that meeting with Dell and Fayetteville State, just said my university. Oh, well, whatever. You see the flag back there.
Yeah.
She really opened her eyes to be like, oh my God, you can make money on this. This is actually a thing. He's not just lying to me. Oh my God. Me and my dad were like, well, we've been telling you for years, but whatever.
Right.
But like you were just go back to the original point, like you were saying, just seeing this thing evolve is just like, holy cow. From it being just a thing you don't talk about, being a cliche, being a thing that, stereotypical people do, that you just nerds, people keep it quiet, being embarrassed to talk about it, to now it's like, yeah, I'm a streamer. I get paid to do this. I'm a professional player. I'm a collegiate player. It's so like, wow.
Yeah, it makes you think like where it's going to be in the next like 3 years even. It's changed so much even just since the pandemic. It's evolved that much. It's wild. Most definitely.
Yeah, you never know, because like before I used to be like secretive about it. Like it was like one thing, like you felt like you were like kind of ashamed of, like, fuck, like,
right?
I'm just gonna get made fun of. But it's like now, like I work in the HVAC business, and there's people who are like, oh, like what do you do for fun? I'm like, I stream, and then like on Twitch, and I'm like, yeah, they're like, dude, what's your name? And I'm like,
yeah. They think it's so cool now.
And it's like, and it's crazy like how many people actually know what it is and stuff, and it's crazy the involvement, and it's evolving and it's growing every day, and it's growing at a rapid pace too. It's
I'm still trying to get my parents to understand the whole streaming aspect, and that it's not just me turning on a video game and just shooting some people. It's not just that. Like there's so much that goes into it. Mm-hmm. Once you put yourself into it, you you start to realize how much is like, it's not just playing a video game. There's so much into it. I love it.
That was my entire pitch to the university, that there's so much to it. It's just strategy, it's teamwork, it's collaboration, it's communication. there's a business side to it. You can pull in nursing, you can pull in psychology, you can pull in pretty much everything we have. Sports medicine. That was the whole
Right.
pitch. It's just like people don't realize that literally esports is literally a spitting image of traditional sports. It's just video games.
Yep. Exactly. It takes skill just like it does playing a real sport.
Yep.
Probably the marketing aspect probably played a huge role in it too, I would assume.
Yeah, that's something I personally didn't like. I always hated. I guess I can talk well, as some people have told me, but I don't like having to deal with too much money. So my biggest problem with my organizations was getting sponsorships and stuff. Like everyone knows, my biggest key in esports is content is king. I'll vouch for that to the end of the earth. I always say it to Spencer, and eventually I'll probably convince him to, maybe get some kind of esports team, but according to him, we'll never do that. or the chances are extremely unlikely. But I always say content is king, because with eyes comes money. People want to know, what can you do for me? Well, we have 100,000 views per video here, or 100,000 views per month. That could potentially be people for your product, or we can at least get a fourth of those people to buy your product or whatever it is, or your service. Content is king. Keep doing that. It's exposure for not only players on a collegiate level, for players to help them get noticed, for the university, because if your player's doing well, then it's like, holy crap. And then players want to come to your university because they're getting exposure, and on top of that, you get sponsors so the university has to come up with less money, so that there's more companies just working with your school.
And exactly like you said, it's exactly just a spitting image of what actual sports is. 'Cause that's exactly how they would do in college football or anything like that. Now, if you were to go pro or have any pro involvement in any esport, what would it be and why?
Oh my god, man. So it's kind of like a toss-up. I guess from a cultural aspect, I would like to do Call of Duty, because I've always been a COD kid. But Halo's been doing it for me recently. I'm really enjoying Halo.
Dude, it's nostalgic.
I see the smile on Tevin's face just get so big.
Yeah, but if I really had to choose one, I'd probably choose League of Legends, because in my opinion, League of Legends is the epitome of what esports should be. They have their teams create content. They are franchised, and their franchising didn't go city-based. I think city-based franchising is stupid. But it's just a spitting image. They have the way their amateur scene is set up. They have academy, they have amateurs. The way this League of Legends altogether is put together, I think that is the epitome of what esports should be. And I suck at League of Legends, so being really good at League of Legends would be amazing.
Sorry. I'm trying to think of my questions, because we're getting so deep into it that my questions, I've completely thrown away my questions at this point.
What would you guys pick?
Call of Duty.
Really?
Yeah.
Call of Duty.
Call of Duty, just because that's been that's what started me out. Playing video games is Call of Duty.
I've done GBs and other games and stuff like that, but it's just something about Call of Duty moments. I see myself get riled up as a fan, and my involvement, and then just seeing as much as I'm a FaZe fan till I die, seeing how Scump turns up on stage. He's one of the best crowd pleasers. He's King Scump for a reason. But the energy that is there, I can only imagine it's a feeling that's unmatched.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, from competing, although I had a very small and minute experience competing in Call of Duty, when you know what you're doing and you're calling out, and I could tell even if we were doing really good and we were really meshing together, especially playing Hardpoint is my favorite game mode. Yeah. That the elation you get and the feeling you feel when you win, it's just holy crap.
Yeah, from tournaments and streaming tournaments, even though I was at the time streaming to 3 people, 2 people who were there, but just the feeling of it, it's a feeling that's unmatched. It's when you're in sync, the perfect fluidity when you're in sync with the team. It's chef's kiss. Perfect. Yes. You get it.
Right. Now, for people who aren't super understanding of what esports exactly is, would you say, how would you explain to someone fresh into this what esports is?
All right, you ready for my spiel? Here we go.
Yes.
Here's this.
Practice this so many times. So many times. So, basically, here's how it goes. You know football? No. Okay. You know basketball? Yes. Okay, great. NBA. Look at that. Look at how that is. So basically, instead of playing basketball, I'm playing Fortnite. Okay? And I can have a team or I can be by myself.
Mm-hmm.
You ever seen Hunger Games? Great. Basically, last one standing wins. And all you do is give money. You know how professionals win money for tournaments? Boom. There you go. That's exactly all it is. Collegiate, same thing. You play basketball in college, scholarships. You go, move up to the pros. Boom. That's how it is.
Whew.
Now,
I like
may change
that.
my tone. I may change my tone because that I do feel it sounded a little bit condescending and a little bit aggressive.
No.
That's essentially that's just the gist
I
of what
like
I say.
that's very like it's I want to say it's very understandable to
It's relatable.
yeah, it's relatable. So like it gets the description out there.
I'm glad. I was worried that people would like look at
gets
just
the
telling
point
me they understand
across.
they don't.
Yeah, because I mean, it is sometimes it can be hard to explain exactly what it is. Like, I mean, obviously, explaining to our parents, it's hard to explain what it is. So that's a good explanation, I would say. Sorry.
Do you practice that in a mirror?
Yeah.
Do I? Yeah.
This is like
Love
the
it.
speech he
I love
practiced
it.
like from when he was
I'm a
young.
communications major, and that's what I do. I've been like in my high schools and early college, and we did a lot of projects and we did a lot of speeches. So really, to get it right, I would just practice it in the mirror or just like walk in my room talking. So I do the same thing with spiel stuff like that. When it's something very important, it's like I need to make sure I have it down packed. So I do practice that in the mirror.
I love it. I love it.
It's great.
Does your school have any big projects coming up in the esports world?
What can I say
without giving away too much?
So my
no
school,
spoilers.
For the sake of anyone who might be in the North Carolina area, Fayetteville, North Carolina, we are currently gearing up to start offering scholarships. The capacity that might be in, a little bit unknown right now, but we're working on it. But we always say we're open to any team we can get because we do have a budget and we can pay for entry. And we have jerseys on the way, and be sure you will see those on Twitter from me when I take those pictures. But right now we're working on getting scholarships and hiring a official director whose full-time position would do that, because currently the communications department chair is our director of esports, but he's the department chair for communications, so he can't put all his efforts towards esports. So we'd like to hire someone who they're going to be looking for someone qualified per se, certified per se. My suggestion has always been someone who has done this at another university, who can bring their experience over. But that's kind of the next biggest project we're working on. I'm trying to just gear them up for me graduating this year, but that's our next biggest project.
What is next for you after graduation?
For me, I'll be going to grad school up in the Maryland area.
Okay.
From there, I'll probably be in academic advising / helping with their esports department. I always tell my close friends that I'll be wiggling into their esports department to take over solely because currently right now they have a position open for esports coordinator, and I'm qualified in everything minus a master's degree. They say preferred master's degree and 3+ years of experience in like student affairs, and I'm working on my second year right now. Because I've also literally helped develop the minor. I going backtracking just a tad bit, I would hope my school would be able to develop a major in esports, just esports in general, and have different sections like esports management, esports content creation, production, stuff like that. That's side note. But looking forward to me for the future. Of course, staying with Skirata, I hope to play a bigger role in Skirata and become more known here, at least among the community. Because I know I've always been kind of behind the scenes, but I want to help out more. But definitely, at least for sure, going to grad school and then just kind of helping out with esports and Skirata.
So you do see yourself doing esports in the long run for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. Full time, that would be that's a different story.
Right.
I'm still working out now. I just burnt out from being the only person doing a lot of, or being one of the only people doing a lot of heavy lifting here because we have a small team, or a small team of staff now. Or will it be better in the future? It's kind of going to depend on the university.
Right. I think with everything evolving, it's gonna become way bigger, and they're gonna
definitely
develop all those different branches as well. So
Yeah, but either way, I mean, I'll be working with Skirata until Spencer kicks me. So
Yay! Even then,
Would you-
he's not allowed to kick you. So
why? Thank you.
there
Thank
you go. It has to be unanimous vote.
he has to go through me.
All right, Spencer. Sorry about this. Man.
Would you ever take a professional offer if it was given to you through esports?
Oh.
That would be very situational. If it was in the collegiate space, I just actually a screenshot on my phone. It would if it was in the collegiate space, it would have to be in a city that I would, well, regardless, have to be in a city that I would want to move to. They'd have to let me finish my master's degree first, because the biggest thing for me is always having multiple plans. Not saying my plan A won't work out. I know a lot of people say, if you don't need to have a plan B because that means you're already planning for it to fail. That's not true, in my opinion. I have to have different avenues. That's just how my brain works. If I can't not have an option. So it depends on who's offering it, how much they're offering. I don't do it for the money, but it depends on how much they're offering, because obviously I'm not going to do it for pennies if I'm doing it
No,
full
you need to
time.
be able to live off of it. Absolutely.
Yeah, and it depends on like just the overall people involved.
Okay.
Nice. Oh, fudge. I had a question. And I freaking, as soon as it like comes to me, my questions just go.
Always happens. Always happens.
Goodness.
I didn't get any replies
So-
on my tweet. I cried.
With you doing these esports and stuff, you know what? I don't even know. I don't even know what I was gonna ask now. It's gonna come to me like once we're asking like the viewers questions. It's so
Yeah.
bad. So I'll move on to my next question, kind of like going into you and how your name came about. So how did you come up with ZyroDegrees?
Oh man.
And not spelt with an E, with a Y.
So it was how to say it? It was such a stressful process, but it really did not have to be. Because growing up, I always thought I'd be a content creator, and I wanted to be, and I wanted to be original. And I figured if I'm going to start taking things seriously, I have to figure out a name. I have to figure it out fast, because I think my first gamer tag, God, it was probably like I'll skip that a little bit. It was a little bit personal, and I didn't want that to be my gamer tag anymore. So I went to a default Xbox gamer tag, like Crazy Ninja 39. And then I was like, I don't like that anymore. So then I tried to figure out something else. And I was trying to think of like, how do I embody myself? Like, what's me? Then I was like, exotic. Why not? Then I played exotic games with the Z, and I thought that was freaking cool. And then people kept asking me on stream, are you an exotic dancer? Do you do exotic things for change? I was like, wait a minute. No,
Yeah.
stop. And so I was like, okay, let me think of something different. So I wanted to do Zyro. When I was in elementary school, I wanted to be an artist. And I thought the writing a Z in cursive was the coolest thing ever. So I was like, let me think of a thing. And it's a little bit depressing, but I was like, oh my God, I'm zero. I'm nothing. So I was like, Zyro. I thought I was going to be this troubled artist for some reason. So I was like, okay, let's do Zyro. Let's go back to that. It's cool. It's fun. That's pretty interesting. And then, of course, London Royal Ravens player Zyro there. I was like, I can't spell it Zero. And there was other players that were named Zero. So I can't spell it Zero or even ZER0. So now I have to do something different. I was thinking, And there's that song from like, I think Between the Lines, like AEIOU, something. It's like a vowel
Between the
song.
Lions?
Yeah.
Oh
and it was
my
like,
God, core memory unlocked just now.
I swear, dude. And I think it was the song of like Sometimes Why. And I was like, oh, let me just put that in there, I guess. So then it became Zyro at first. And then people couldn't say it right when I went to their streams as in chat. So I was like, okay, screw it. I'm Zyro now. And then I'm sitting here one day and I'm like, I want to do some branding. How am I going to brand around Zyro? I was like, degrees, ZyroDegrees, boom. And there we go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Dang. I love that like people have backstories to their names.
It's amazing.
Instead of like mine, it's just a nickname.
I mean, even that has meaning to it. It means something to you.
Yeah. But I like that you have a whole backstory to it.
Too.
I would like to be like, oh, I was on this great adventure and I found this like plant, and it was just named the Lainie, and it was like.
I say you run with that. There you go. That's your
you
new
know what? I'm gonna
origin
start
story.
coming up with something.
That's the new
now,
origin story. That's exactly a plant.
It's like a plant that you find in New World.
Yeah. That's so much better than
you have
what
to
I
be
used
at
to
a
do.
level 80 to like plant it.
Yeah. I used to go through a freaking thesaurus and try to find adjectives, but that got boring.
Right.
That's about as original as you can get.
Yeah, it's like, what's my name gonna be? Thesaurus.
It's the
Ooh, okay.
15th word for this one, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, normally we would do Q&A by now.
Well, yeah, I guess now we can move into Q&A if you'd like, as
now
we've
we
hit that
can.
45-minute mark, but
We do
we're not
have
live.
a couple
We
questions
hit it.
from viewers.
So we hit that 45-minute mark, which means now chat. If you would like to ask any questions to Zyro right now, please feel free to ask him right now. Phil.
This is your cue to tweet at me.
So, yep. Tweet.
And tweet.
So our first question is from Original Bon Jovi, who sadly could not be here with us tonight. He chose food over us.
I
Rude.
understand.
I would too, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm starving. Oh God.
I'm so hungry.
He asks, is franchising a good thing for esports players in particular?
Players. Okay, so that's a bit of a sticky situation. So I think that it is in terms of securing a job and securing a check, because when you franchise, there are certain guidelines that have to be met, i.e., like a salary cap. And the bad parts of that is like the CDL. You have 12 teams, but there's a ton of good talent and a ton of people end up getting cut, especially with the whole going from 4v4 to 5v5 and going from 5v5 to 4v4 and still only having 12 teams and not expanding. So I think for the players, it can be a good thing because it kind of secures some things. It has a couple of different guidelines and some procedures have to be met rather than just like, open tournaments and open leagues kind of thing. Like I said, I think League of Legends is a prime example. When they require certain salary caps, they require certain things of organizations to players, and they require certain obligations of players to the organization, and that just makes for a better ecosystem for the entire thing to grow. So I think it's a two-sided street or a two-way street. And if some things aren't met or some things you drop the ball, CDL, then you need to reevaluate.
Yeah. His other question that kind of follows along with it, do you think that model offers greater protections for them?
I almost want to say yes, but almost no, because like I said, it's kind of like for the players that make it, you're in, and it secures you for X amount of time theoretically, because you see players get dropped all the time mid-season. But there's still certain things that can be protected, or you can be protected against within a franchise. But at the same time, it kind of locks out certain players where you have to find an amateur team. You have to go into things like challenges, which is not well developed right now. So you're kind of just thrown into the mosh pit of things, and it could be really bad for some players that are still really good and can compete with the best of them, but because of limited spots, it's not. So it's kind of like, I don't know, franchising kind of protects them against certain things, and it kind of does offer a layer of protection.
Right. All right. His follow-up question to that as well is, does it clear and obscure the path toward a players' union?
Players' union. Let's see. So I'm not gonna lie, I'm not the most experienced in terms of unions and stuff and like player associations, but from my understanding of it, it could, I want to say it could help, but I could have the wrong definition. It could help because there's more structure and they might be more open to it. But at the same time, if you get with the wrong kind of leadership, they're not going to want players having a say in anything. So it's going to be kind of tough. But I'm not, that question's a little tough for me because I'm not 100% familiar with player unions. And that's something I'm currently looking into, because I think that is very important for upcoming players to know about, as if they have the option to unionize or not, because it is a big thing in the corporate world as well.
Right.
But yeah, basically, I think it could make it easier, but it could obscure the path as well.
Oh wow. Yeah. His are you able to see the questions too, Tevin?
I think they're
If
on
you
Twitter,
look
right?
if you look on my my tweet, you can look under there, and then that way you can ask the questions too if you want.
Nope. Here's my next question. Here we go.
Okay.
All right, Ulysses.
Oh boy.
You've just been given ownership of CDL because obviously you've sent multiple shots at them so far throughout this thing. What are the first few changes that you are doing with it?
First thing first, we're going to get a team together for what do they call it? Team skins, team camos. That's first thing. Second thing, we're gonna be completely freaking transparent. No. Scratch that. Scratch all of that. First thing first, we're gonna have a meeting with all players and all owners. We're not going to just sit here and act like we know everything. Not saying the CDL does that, because I know Joanna Ferris does a great job, but she just moved to a different position. But first thing first, we're gonna have a team meeting with all players and all owners to get their input on what we should do. I've always been the kind of person that when I'm running things, it's not a me thing, it's a we thing. This is our ship, and it's not going to work without all of us. It's a big machine, and if one part's missing, it doesn't work. So that's kind of how I look at it. I would have a big team meeting, and of course, then we go team skins, and we go over operations and road mapping and just the overall structure of it. Because Jesus Christ, it's a nightmare right now. For me, from some things, it's like, okay, we could do a better job. Like, come on. But there also, I do understand that I don't have access to some information. Like I listen to Hex a lot, where it's like, the public doesn't have all the information. We don't have all sides to the story, so we could be wrong on certain things. It could be working on certain things. I do recognize that there is room for growth, but I can only criticize to an extent.
Okay. Would you have preferred the CWL to stay around compared to them franchising and becoming the CDL?
I would have liked a good healthy mix, because I think the CWL played a lot. I did like the idea of having those having like the online tournaments, or having the online league. Then you have majors per se. Then you have those lands that are open to any team. I've always been at a crossroad when it comes to having those amateur teams make it to main stage, which I do believe that kind of does offer, like, hey, it's whoever's on top of the game right now, and that brings to light these really good players. And it's like, hey, keep them on your radar for next season or next semester or next year or whatever. But I do think that a good mix between CDL and CWL will be good, because I don't like city-based franchising. I think although it's nice to create your own brands and stuff, or new brands, and have city pride or whatever, I think that the core of organizations and that branding is so important. Look, I'm an Optic fan. You're a FaZe fan. I have the shirt on right now, just to show a truce for this episode. But after this episode, and I take your shirt off, we're getting back to it.
Back at it.
Love you, Tevin. But I'd say, like, keeping those brands around is so important, because when you segment it into so many different things, it's so many different teams, and explaining to certain people, like even explaining to my dad, someone who understands it, explaining to him that Optic was no longer Hector's, but then it was Hector's, and then they're under NRG, who own Huntsman, or Atlanta FaZe. They keep the same name, but it's FaZe, and other organizations kind of doing the whole runaround is confusing. So bottom line, I would prefer a mix to where it's regular franchising like LCS, but you get to have a mixture of online tournaments, online league, and then you have LANs that are tournaments that are just open to amateur as well, and you can have a couple, maybe one or two amateur brackets scale up and make it to the main stage.
I think that's what I enjoyed most about the CWL was the exposure that you got, because especially because there were some events where you had like Rise Nation, FaZe, Optic, all your powerhouses, and the next you have someone like Lightning Pandas, and you're like,
yeah,
who's this? And then they're doing really good, and you're like, okay, hold on, wait, no, let me start checking into these people and stuff like that. So
I will say Lightning Pandas was comprised of lower tier pros, but
it did.
I know what you mean.
That is true. So if you could go back to when you first started out in the esports, what advice would you give yourself based on what you know now?
Man,
that's from Lil Megan, by the way. Shouts out to Lil Megan.
Hey, Megan. Anyways, we have to do that. Response message banger, had to do it.
There you go. Beat her to it.
Yeah. I would have to say I would probably tell myself don't be afraid, because I was so afraid for the longest time of telling people what I like and telling
Mhm.
people what I was passionate about. I would BS people so much just about like yeah, I don't know what I want to do yet, or this and this, but when I sit down and think about it, I want to work in esports, I want to work in gaming, or I want to have some kind of hand in this. I
Mhm.
just tell myself, don't be afraid, be confident in who you are, because you can do this, just keep
Yeah.
going.
Confidence is key.
Yeah.
So what would you say is the main goal for yourself in esports?
My main goal is just to make a difference in others' lives. That's always been my overarching goal in life and in esports, just to make a difference in people's lives and help people achieve their dreams. I've even considered like now just opening a small organization or talking with Spencer. Well, I don't know if Spencer would do it, because I mean, I look at it from different sides, but like just paying for some amateur teams to compete. If like just putting a tweet out
Mhm.
like, hey, if you can't compete, if you can't make the money, here's money. Play under your own brand, your own name, or whatever. Even if I wanted to have my own branding, play under this logo. I'll pay for your entry fee. Why not? Because I just like giving people an opportunity, giving people a chance to compete and have a chance to do what they love. See if it's for them. Because I was so gracious. Oh, Lainie has a bunch
Hi.
of sound.
Hi.
Sorry. Is there a lot of noise
Hi.
back there?
Okay, there we go. It's
Very
fixed.
good.
Well,
Oh, I got
but
chills from that.
yeah,
That was probably my mic unmuting. So
Yeah.
sorry.
It's all good.
It
Sorry, your
froze me. I
girl's
was
getting a new
like,
car and she's getting a whole email. Okay. We're
boom!
good now.
Congrats to Lainie on the new car.
Let's go.
Vroom vroom, bitch.
I think I lost my train of thought.
I'm so sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
Branding yourself on the side and
Yeah. So I've always been like, I was blessed to have the opportunity to, try what I wanted, doing internships and essentially whatever I want. I've always had connections. I can get what I want. I've always said I want to do this. I'm going to figure out a way to do it. So giving people the opportunity in esports would be amazing. I just want to make an impact in people's lives. And I think eventually I'm definitely, no matter what it is, I'm going to either be involved in an esports organization maybe as a manager or co-owner, or at
Mhm.
least invest in an esports organization, whether it's Skirata, whether it's something else, whatever it may be. I'm going to invest in one to have a say in what goes on in some kind of organization in the gaming/esports industry.
you don't know how hyped I'd be if I were to see your name like under part of the ownership on a team.
That'd be
I
freaking
know that
amazing.
guy. I know
Yeah.
him.
Trust me, everyone comes up with me. I'm not forgetting about anybody.
There you go. Can't forget the day ones, no matter
sure.
what. Lainey, we have gone through Megan's questions, so to catch you up.
Okay, did you get the separate question that Spencer has there?
No.
What are the biggest similarities and differences between traditional sports and esports?
Let's say similarities. I'd have to say, I'm going to loosely say this. I'm going to loosely say structure in terms of I can't even say how it runs per se, because I'm just going to contradict that in this next statement. I'd say similarities within players and building brands, and then sponsorships and the way it runs and how you get money. Differences is schedules, because esports is kind of a year-round thing. No matter what, you might get a bit of a break. Like right now, I know Valorant's on a break, and Call of Duty has an off season. They're in the off season right now. But things like CS:GO, they're freaking constantly competing. But esports is more of like a kind of ever changing, ever going thing. I will say that esports is also always changing, as Hector Rodriguez says. Esports is a 24/7, 365 kind of gig. No matter what, it's always going to change. You can go to sleep one night, it'll be one thing. You wake up the next morning, it's another. That's the biggest thing with traditional sports, is at least usually some kind of consistency, especially with the rule. Even when they change rules, is going to be kind of consistent. So you kind of can't change that. With esports, it can be completely different things, like at any given moment.
Perfect.
Excellent. I feel like my question from earlier was starting to come back, and then it drifted away again. This is not cool.
We probably have like one or two more questions.
Oh, that was what I was going to ask.
Boom! There we go.
Did you ever stream? Like, were you ever streaming
Yeah.
at any point?
Yes.
Because I just recently came around, so I wasn't around for this.
Yeah. So I used to stream a lot. I'm not gonna. Well, how do I say this without Twitch banning me? If you can get my drift, yes, I've been streaming for a long time, on and off. I've been streaming for a very long time, on and off. But I think, man, in middle school, I used to stream kind of consistently. That was the most consistent I was. But something my dad told me was that it hurt me at the time, but I understood, and it kind of made me who I am. But he was like, "You'll never be a pro player or a full time streamer because you won't have the time to put towards it." Because even he didn't see the full potential of it, so it was kind of like, you still got to keep up with your school, and that's still a rule now for me. I have to keep up my schooling, so I don't have the time to stream for hours and consistently do it every single day. But I used to stream consistently, probably in like 2013, 14, 15, 16, something like that, somewhere around that. So that's a large range. I do stream occasionally, and I've been telling myself ever since Vanguard came out, I'm going to stream today. I'm going to stream today. I'm going to stream today. Halo came out, I'm going to stream today. I'm going to stream today. I'm going to stream today. Either something happens, or I'm too tired, or I'll sit here and I'll think about playing a video game. Like I'm going to get so pissed off I don't want to stream. So yeah, to answer your question, I did stream consistently once upon a time. I probably was only playing like Minecraft or maybe CS:GO because I've always
something last I tuned in. I don't know.
I don't even know what it was.
It
But for
was
me,
some
I've always been in a
turn-based
situation.
game.
TFT. That's what I was playing. But I've always been in a situation where my computer until recently, my computer could never handle the games I want to really stream. So I just kind of just play them offline. And even now, my computer is very good, but it's not like, you can throw anything at it and it won't stream really, really good. So it's kind of, I've always been like an equipment kind of struggle.
Okay. Probably like one or two more. I think.
So I don't have any other viewer questions.
Neither do I.
Our head honcho and Skirata Mima had the best questions.
Right? Yeah.
It was great talking to you. Honestly, I loved getting into esports, and then even just preparing for this episode and looking into the statistics of esports. I did not realize how much esports is actually evolving and is going to continue to evolve soon. And then even seeing colleges are incorporating esports, and I'm like I even just recently have a friend who said he's on his college's esports team, and I was like, what? My college didn't have that. They had freaking a dance team. That's it. They don't have this stuff. It's so cool to me.
Yeah, one thing I definitely loved is how you were just saying how even your dad's like full time pretty much isn't in the picture, full time streaming or anything like that. But you managed to, what I believe is the best outcome of mixing both school and the thing that you love most. And I think you meshed it very well. You brought it to your school. Now you have a whole esports lab and everything like that, and you're doing great. I love it. Yeah.
I kid you not. If I wasn't doing the esports thing and the studio manager thing, even if I was just an RA here, I would be streaming more. I would. Mm-hmm. But because literally those things kind of just fell into my lap, and I was like, I guess I have to take this opportunity. I kind of can't do them because when I tell you the esports thing here is like a 24/7 kind of gig where I'm either looking for places to compete or I'm trying to manage the team or I'm doing this or that. And if it's not that, it's something else. It takes so much out of me, and I really feel bad for it because I feel like I'm not leading by example here in Skirata, where I'm not streaming all the time, but I try to pop in every once in a while to say hello.
You're always lurking though. You're
always. Seriously, at least 4 or 5 times a day, I'm refreshing our team page and opening up everyone's tabs and just putting it there. Like in Tevin's stream, I have a ton of freaking points in there, and when he took a sip of water in here, I was scared because I thought he was gonna do the smidge. The smidge. I thought he was gonna do it. I was scared. I was like, "Oh my god, Tevin, what are you doing?"
No, they had me do that last episode though.
Oh man, I will make you do it this time. It's hilarious because I'll just be sitting here doing homework, and I'll just look over or I'll be going through my tabs. And I'm like, "What the heck, Tevin?" It's literally just going
on himself again.
He's just spitting all over himself.
Yeah, it's like, here's Johnny.
But yeah, no, legit, every time I'll look at my viewer list before I end or before I go to raid someone, and you're always there, and I'm like,
That's one thing I always believe in. It's I think that at least management in an organization, needs to be known. You shouldn't just be the big suit up at the top. People need to know you. That's why I applaud Spencer. That's part of the reason why I'm here, because Spencer is involved. So people know who he is. He's not just, oh, that's the owner. No, that's Spencer.
Yeah,
we all know him.
How did you get into Skirata? Okay, wait. Final question. Is this gonna be the final question?
Okay.
Final question.
All right.
How did you get into Skirata? What was the story behind that?
Oh my god! So
he was 10 years old and he was just slaying it on the games.
Spencer said that guy has zero spell weird.
It was like okay. So, in interest of not rekindling old beef, I was playing Call of Duty BO4 with a good IRL friend of mine, and we met this guy. I'm just gonna say Choo Choo. I'm gonna call him Train. If you know who he is, you know who he is. We can talk after this, but not that we talk behind people's backs. I know someone's gonna try to clip that and say, "Oh my god, talk behind someone's back." No, we don't. Anyways, I met him in game. My friend was like, "Oh my god, he has TTV in his clan tag. Let's go check him out, see what he's doing." We watched his stream, followed and everything. He was a pretty genuine guy at the time, and basically just followed. He joined Skirata, and we followed them from there. And basically, I was kind of a member of the community for a hot minute. I was always, at least in his stream, I went into Spencer's stream, and I kind of like Spencer as a person, and I went to maybe a couple other people's streams. I just like the vibe of it. So the way I did it, I feel bad because what I said I would do, I only did for a little bit. But I really, really finessed my way in here. So I consider Spencer a very good friend. And at the time, I was going back and forth between talking to him, like, hey, should I stay in this organization? Is this the situation I'm in? Or should I leave? Like, what do? I got this collegiate esports opportunity. What should I do? How do I go about this? What should I do? What do you believe? What do you think I should do? And he was like kind of coaching me through that, just being a very, very generous, like, listening ear. Because I swear, I tried to be as open as possible, but I was repeating the same crap over and over again. I have a tendency to do that. And I just need to say it over and over and over again. And he just listened and always gave me open feedback. So one day, I was looking at Skirata, I was looking at things that could be done better. I was like, okay, I'm noticing the Twitch channel, could be, ran a little bit better. I could help schedule things out because I was doing that before with other organizations and stuff.
Yeah.
And I can help out with programming and doing events and hosting like tournaments we wanted to, or just creating community events for people. So basically, I just proposed to him exactly that. I was supposed to be events manager at first. And I was supposed to be just running the Twitch channel, essentially, scheduling people on there, which I did. We did Warzone Customs for a while. I wanted to do some other things, and then kind of started doing more. I was like, hey, can I get the title manager? He's like, sure. I was like, yeah. Basically, that's kind of how it happened. I just kind of got in Spencer's ear, and I was like, hey, what can I do for you? Whatever you need to get done, whatever you need, I'll do. And that's kind of how I am now. Like, Spencer, if you need me, just text me, and I'll do whatever you need me to do. If I can do it, I'll do it.
Absolutely.
Right.
And that's why we love you.
Yes. We appreciate everything you do.
That goes for anyone in Skirata too. If you need anything, even if it's just someone to listen to, even community members, if you need someone to just talk to, hit my DMs. I'd much rather you talk it out with me, and I'd much rather lose all my sleep than you go do something that is not so smart or not so beneficial.
Love it.
We appreciate that. Well, thank you so much for being our guest on the first recorded Beyond Streaming episode. Yes. This is, no, I'm super excited about this.
I am too.
Anyone listening, please do go give him a follow on Twitter. Go show him some love. Go ask him some more stuff about esports. Maybe we can find that hidden those YouTube videos that he hid away in the archives.
I'm going to go specifically after this episode and go make sure everything's archived.
He's going to go just delete the whole YouTube account.
Yeah.
It's just done. Well, it was so great talking to you. Thank you so much. This has been amazing.
Another amazing episode.
Yes, and having even our freaking manager, man. Like, come on.
We gotta get Megan on here.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Man.
We are going to get her on here. I literally love her.
Yes.
We got the head honcho on. We got another head honcho. Now we need Skirata Mimo on. It's just, it's in the rule book. It has to happen. Well, thank you so much for being our guest. And thank you, everyone, for tuning into this episode. If you did, I hope, and if you did get your questions in, I hope we answered them. You are always welcome to send messages to us. If you have any other kind of questions, you can always message Zyro. I'm sure he will. Zero, sorry.
Yeah, you're good.
There
Spencer
I go
calls me
again.
Spencer and Frankie call me Zyro all the time. It's fine.
That is true.
Anyways,
true.
thank you so much, everyone, for joining us for another episode of Beyond Streaming. Please go follow us on any of your favorite platforms: Apple Pod, Stitcher, Spotify, SoundCloud. Find us. You have a podcast app, go look for us. You'll find us. We're there, most likely. And this will most likely be on YouTube as well. So you'll find us there as well. We will see you on the next one. I hope you guys have a safe and happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Yes,
Thanksgiving.
and eat lots of. Wow, Tev, come on, man!
I'm so excited.
Tevin just got so excited. We will see you after the holiday. Have a great night.
Bye, guys.
Right